theOptimist. Today, we are going to be talking about top 5 programming languages that you might want to learn in 2021. Also, in the end, I'm going to suggest you some language that you might want to learn based on your career path. Let's get into the video. At first, we have JavaScript. Why? Because JavaScript is my favorite language and it is also good. Alright, let's look at the advantages of JavaScript. JavaScript is used to make the majority of the websites in the world, and JavaScript has a very large community. What I mean by that is, if you get stuck in an error, there is a high probability that you will find a solution in Stack Overflow or any other online platform. JavaScript has a lot of frameworks that just makes your life easier. Some of the examples are React, Angular. JavaScript is also simple and easy to learn. And the main thing is, JavaScript is not only used to make websites, it is also used to make desktop applications and PWAs. Alright, as much I hate to say this, JavaScript also has a few disadvantages. So let's take a look at them. Client-side security. As much as JavaScript makes your website interactive, malicious code can be inserted into your server using JavaScript, which makes your website vulnerable. And the second point, browser support. To reduce this disadvantage, JavaScript is backwards compatible. That is, code written 20 years ago will work fine today, but few functions that were introduced in JavaScript 5 years back won't work fine on the browsers that were built 10 years ago. I mean, you get the point, right? But you need to check for the older versions of the browsers based on your client specifications, as you may need to support them. Alright, with that being said, JavaScript is an awesome language and you might want to learn it if you are aiming to become a full stack developer. And I do have a course for learning JavaScript in this channel. Feel free to check it out. Check out for the link in the description, and I'll leave the link also in the I icon. Alright, let's move on to our next language, Python. Python is awesome. Alright, let's look at the advantages. Similar to JavaScript, Python also has a very large community. That is, for every error you hit, you might find a solution online. Python is easy to learn. Python improves your productivity. Many of the beginners are confused by this statement. It has nothing to do with the performance of Python. It just means less number of lines of code is written to do a particular task in Python than other languages, which helps you code faster. Python has packages for almost everything you need, which makes your life easier. Python is used a lot in website development, game development, and mostly in machine learning. Alright, even Python has disadvantages. It is slow, don't get me wrong. It is fast, but it is slow compared to C or C++. Python is not memory efficient. Also, Python has runtime errors. This is a biggie because you need to test your Python app a lot before deploying it, because runtime errors can crash your application. With that being said, Python is also an awesome language. You might want to learn it if you're into machine learning or even website development, but I would suggest learning JavaScript first if you're into website development. Alright, let's move on to our third language, Java. I feel like Java is there for eternity. Alright, let's look at the advantages of Java. Java is platform independent. That is, you write code in Java once and you convert it into bytecode, and it can run on any platform that supports JVM. Java is a secure language. Java has a lot of use cases. Some of them are building Android and iOS applications. Java is also used to build large-scale applications, which is one of the main reasons why it is used at enterprise level. Alright, enough with the advantages. Let's look at the disadvantage. Java has complex code structure. Well, if you ask me, I would say Java has pretty complex code structure, and Java doesn't have good GUI. This problem can be solved by linking another language with Java, which has a better GUI, but it takes time to learn. Alright, in conclusion, Java is also a cool language. You might want to learn it if you're trying to get into some MNCs. Alright, let's look at our fourth language, C#. C# is brilliant. C# is used for game development with Unity, and C# is also used in building desktop and web applications. Alright, let's look at the disadvantages of C#. C# is largely dependent on the .NET framework that was developed by Microsoft. I mean, I wouldn't call it disadvantage, it's just an opinion. And with that being said, C# is, amazing, and you might want to learn it if you're into game development. Alright, with that being said, let's look at the last but not the least, Go. Go is fast. Really fast. Go is used a lot on server side, mainly for its speed, because it is as fast as C or C++. Go language is created by Google, and I haven't used Go a lot, but I can assure you Go language is also used in creating web apps. And the disadvantage of Go are sometimes it's too simple, and it is an young language. What I mean by that is, developers get used to a language and they'll have problems switching to another language. For example, some developers like JavaScript a lot, and they might find problems switching to other languages. But let's see where the trend goes, and Go looks to be promising. Alright, with that being said, Go is an emerging language. I feel like giving Go the IPL Emerging Award, if you know what I mean. Alright, enough with the languages. Let's suggest you some languages based on your career path. And a disclaimer before that, whatever language I'm suggesting is purely based on my opinion. Feel free to choose your language. Alright, let's get into it. If you want to become a web developer in 2021, I highly suggest you learn JavaScript because it is used in both client-side and server-side. And obviously, you need to learn HTML, CSS for structuring and styling your web page, and PHP. It's just another scripting language, but it is cool. Alright, if you want to learn machine learning in 2021, I highly suggest you learn Python. Mainly because it has a lot of packages and a big community support. And there's the other option, R language, which is also a good language if you're looking into machine learning because it is so good with statistics. Alright, last but not the least, if you want to become an app developer in 2021, I highly suggest you start with Flutter or React Native because Flutter and React Native helps you build hybrid apps. That is, you can write an app once and run it both on Android and iOS. And hey, this is just an opinion. I just feel it's cool to write code once and run it on both Android and iOS. But if you are looking to go real deep, I highly suggest you learn Java for building Android native apps and Swift for iOS native apps. Alright, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the content, like the video and subscribe for more content.